We're going to interact with this story, and this is going to be a choose-your-own-adventure with ChatGPT. Come up with a start of a story. Write me the opening page of a choose-your-own-adventure novel about, and then this is where I need you to... What's the about? 3 gnomes walk into a tavern seeking the mysterious stranger who stole their holiday cookies. All right, I like that one. All right. We're using that. Crispy, first to jump in. I love it. I absolutely love it. Write me the opening page about 3 gnomes walking into a tavern seeking the mysterious stranger who stole their holiday cookies. Gnomes and the stolen cookies. In a quaint little village nestled deep within the heart of the enchanted forest, 3 gnomes named Pip, Tumble, and Willow huddled together, their faces etched with worry. The scent of pine trees and wildflowers wafted through the crisp, wintry air as they stood before the snow-covered entrance of the Gnomes' Goblet Tavern. Pip, the oldest of the trio, adjusted his mossy-greened hat and cleared his throat. Friends, our holiday cookies have gone missing, and we have a sneaking suspicion that a mysterious stranger is to blame. Tumble, the mischievous one, with a twinkle in his eye, chimed in. And those cookies were meant for the great winter feast. We can't let this theft go unpunished. Willow, the voice of reason, nodded solemnly. I agree, but before we accuse anyone, we need to gather clues. And where better to start than at the Gnomes' Goblet Tavern, where all the forest creatures gather? Are they not there already? As Pip, Tumble, and Willow entered the bustling tavern, they realized that their quest wouldn't be easy. The stranger who had stolen their precious holiday cookies could be anyone among the lively crowd. If you decide to approach the bartender and ask for information about the mysterious stranger, turn to page 3. If you choose to blend into the crowd and eavesdrop on conversations, turn to page 4. Okay. Page 3, the bartender's clue. Pip, Tumble, and Willow made their way to the bar, where the friendly bartender gave them a warm smile. Good evening, dear gnomes. What can I get for you today? Pip cleared his throat nervously and replied, Actually, we're not here for a drink, but for some information. Our holiday cookies have gone missing, and we suspect a mysterious stranger may be involved. Have you seen anyone suspicious around lately? Now, what if the bartender was in on it? Like, I feel like we're already tipping our hand a little bit. The bartender leaned in, his voice lowered. I've heard some whispers and seen a few curious folk over the past few days. There's talk of a hooded figure who's been lurking in the shadows, always keeping to himself. Tumble's eyes widened with intrigue. A hooded figure, you say? That might be our cookie thief. Do you know where the stranger might be now? Tumble, I feel like you're jumping to conclusions here. Right? I'm a hooded figure. I have a hood. I'm a hooded figure. I didn't steal any cookies. The bartender shrugged. I can't be certain, but I've heard that the stranger was asking about the Great Winter Feast. They seemed interested in the festivities. If you decide to ask the bartender for more details about the stranger's appearance, turn to page 5. If you choose to leave the tavern and follow the lead to the Great Winter Feast preparations, turn to page 6. It seems like you would need a little bit more information about the stranger other than the fact that he wears a hood and is an introvert and keeps to himself. 5 is probably the smarter option. Yeah, 5 is probably the smarter option. I would agree with that. Pip leaned in closer to the bartender, his eyes intent. Could you give us a more detailed description of this mysterious hooded figure? It might help us to identify them. The bartender pondered for a moment, scratching his white-bearded chin. Well, I didn't get a good look, but I did hear from a couple of patrons that the stranger had a long flowing robes, a hood that concealed their face, and they were unusually tall for a forest-dwelling creature. Tumble nodded, taking mental notes. Long robes, a hood, and tall. Sounds like a lead to me. Thank you, kind bartender. You're just getting his description. There's no evidence here whatsoever. Can we get a actual picture of this guy? Based on the prompt below, give me a picture of the mysterious hooded figure. That's not a lot to go on. I like it though. I really like it. What did the bartender say? The stranger had long flowing robes, a hood that concealed their face, and they were unusually tall for a forest-dwelling creature. That actually is pretty damn good. ChatGPT, well done. Well done. The gnomes followed the trail of breadcrumbs left by the mysterious stranger's inquiries about the Great Winter Feast. Soon they found themselves on the outskirts of the village, where preparations for the grand event were well underway. If you decide to approach the organizers of the Great Winter Feast and inquire about any recent strangers fitting the description, turn to page 7. If you choose to investigate the nearby woods, believing the stranger may have hidden there, turn to page 8. That's really flipping good. Page 8, in search of clues. Pip, Tumble, and Willow decided to explore the nearby woods in the hopes of finding clues that might lead them to the mysterious stranger who had stolen their holiday cookies. The snow-covered forest was silent, save for the occasional chirping of a bird. As they ventured deeper into the woods, they noticed footprints in the snow, leading off the beaten path. The footprints were large and appeared to be from boots or shoes, not the usual tracks of forest creatures. The gnomes followed the footsteps for what felt like hours, the anticipation building with each step. Okay, all right, I'm going to stop right there. Follow the footprints for hours? They're looking for cookies, right? At some point, you just give up and you're like, all right, you know what? Let's just make a new batch. A small fire pit, a makeshift bed of leaves, and a discarded cookie crumb lay scattered about. My God, the cookie crumb. Tumble picked up the cookie crumb, his eyes widening in recognition. This is it, our holiday cookie crumb. The thief must have camped here and indulged in our cookies. Suddenly, they heard a rustling in the bushes nearby. The gnomes exchanged nervous glances. You have two options. If you decide to investigate the rustling in the bushes, turn to page 9. If you choose to continue examining the campsite for more clues, turn to page 10. I mean, at this point, look, like, you've been searching for hours. A discarded cookie crumb lays scattered on the campsite. So the cookies are gone. Just go home. Just make more cookies. Based on the prompt below, generate an image that best depicts the scene. All right, so there's the campsite. Here are the gnomes. Who's that? That's Pip. That's Tumble. And then who else? Weedle? No, that's a Pokemon. Willow. Oh, yeah. The stranger is barefoot in the snow. Wait, what? Oh, that's a good point, actually. That's a great point. Right foot, then left foot, then left foot, then left foot, then left foot. Whoever this mysterious cookie thief is taking some weird pathing in order to throw off the gnomes. Page 9, confronting the stranger. Unable to contain their curiosity, Pip, Tumble, and Willow decided to investigate the rustling in the bushes. They approached cautiously, ready to confront the mysterious stranger who had stolen their holiday cookies. As they drew nearer, the bushes suddenly parted, and a figure stepped out into the clearing. It was a tall hooded figure, just as the bartender had described. My God, it's him! Why have you been following me? The stranger asked, their voice soft and mysterious. Pip stepped forward, his voice firm. We're gnomes from the village, and we believe you may have taken our holiday cookies. We only want to know the truth. I feel like that's not forceful enough. He's got to be more forceful. He's got to curse a little bit more. We're gnomes from the village, damn it. The stranger hesitated for a moment before lowering their hood, revealing a face that was not what the gnomes had expected. It was a face filled with sorrow and regret. You're right, the stranger admitted, a hint of sadness in their eyes. I took your cookies, but it was a mistake. I was hungry and lost in the forest, and I didn't know they were meant for a special feast. Tumble's anger softened as he looked at the stranger's forlorn expression. Well, why didn't you just ask for some food? We gnomes are always willing to help those in need. The stranger sighed. I was too afraid to ask. I've been alone for so long, and I didn't want to be rejected again. It doesn't seem like he's like this tough guy that you would think from someone that looks like this. And so the gnomes and the once mysterious stranger made their way back to the village, hand in hand, to celebrate the great winter feast together, with forgiveness and friendship in their hearts. As Pip, Tumble, and Willow and the once mysterious stranger returned to the village, they were welcomed with open arms by their fellow gnomes. The great winter feast was a joyous occasion, filled with laughter, music, and delicious cookies that had brought them all together. As they sat around a table laden with treats, the gnomes shared stories, and the once mysterious stranger finally felt like they had found a place where they belonged. And so, the holiday cookies that had gone missing had served a greater purpose than anyone could have imagined, bringing not only the gnomes, but also the stranger, into a new circle of friends and happiness. The end. That's not bad. That's not bad. I think that could have gone different, though. Create an alternate page 9 where the mysterious stranger turns into a werewolf and attacks the gnomes. Page 9, alternate, the terrifying transformation. Unable to contain their curiosity, Pip, Tumble, and Willow decided to investigate the rustling in the bushes. They approached cautiously, ready to confront the mysterious stranger who had stolen their holiday cookies. Pip stepped forward, his voice firm. "We're gnomes from the village, and we believe you may have taken our holiday cookies. We only want to know the truth." Okay, those 4 paragraphs are exactly the same as before. I feel like it's about to change. Suddenly, the stranger's body began to convulse, and their form shifted grotesquely. Before the gnome's eyes, the stranger transformed into a terrifying werewolf, its eyes growing with mouth. Before the gnomes could react, the werewolf lunged at them with a ferocious growl, teeth bared and claws extended. The forest echoed with the screams of terror as they tried to fend off their monstrous attacker. Oh my god. You have 2 options. If you decide to fight back against the werewolf, turn to page 11. If you choose to flee and run deeper into the woods, turn to page 12. I'm not gonna lie. I think the alternate page 9 way better. That sounds like we're page 11 people, aren't we? Turn to page 11, fight back against the werewolf. Page 11, a desperate battle. With courage in their hearts, Pip, Tumble, and Willow stood their ground, determined to fight back against the ferocious werewolf that had once been the mysterious stranger. They grabbed nearby branches and rocks, using them as makeshift weapons. The werewolf lunged at them, snapping its jaws with incredible speed. The gnomes swung their improvised weapons, attempting to defend themselves. The battle was fierce and chaotic, with the gnomes dodging and striking, trying to land a blow on the savage creature. The struggle continued for what felt like an eternity, but the gnomes' determination and teamwork eventually paid off. Willow managed to land a decisive blow on the werewolf's head, stunning it momentarily. Taking advantage of the opportunity, Tumble and Pip lunged forward and managed to subdue the creature. As they pinned the werewolf to the ground, its growls turned into pained whimpers. Slowly, the creature began to revert to its human form, the hooded figure now appearing unconscious and battered. Breathing heavily, the gnomes looked at each other, their hearts still racing from the intense battle. You have 2 options. If you decide to tie up the unconscious stranger and take them back to the village for questioning, turn to page 13. If you choose to leave the unconscious stranger in the woods and continue your quest to find the stolen cookies, turn to page 14. It seems like we've already found it. The stranger ate them. Create an alternate page 11 where Pip casts Fireball against the mysterious stranger. Page 11, alternate, Pip's fiery confrontation. With fear coursing through the veins, Pip, Tumble, and Willow watched in horror as the mysterious stranger transformed into a menacing werewolf before their eyes. But Pip, the eldest and most experienced gnome, knew he had to act swiftly to protect his friends. He focused his magical abilities and summoned the power of fire within himself. With a determined look, he pointed his tiny hand towards the approaching werewolf and chanted an incantation. Flame tide ignite. Yes! A blazing fireball shot forth from Pip's hand, hurtling towards the werewolf with incredible speed. The fiery projectile struck the creature directly, engulfing it in flames. The werewolf howled in agony as the flames consumed it, turning its fur into charred embers. Oh! Badass Pip! The once terrifying werewolf lay motionless on the ground, reduced to a smoldering heap. You have 2 options. If you decide to investigate the charred remains of the werewolf and search for clues, turn to page 13. If you choose to leave the scene quickly and continue your quest to find the stolen cookies, turn to page 14. But wait a second. You're going to investigate charred remains? Like, it's just a pile of ashes at this point, right? Loot the body? Loot the body. Yes. Yes. You guys are savages here. Page 13, investigating the charred remains. With trepidation, Pip, Tumble, and Willow approached the charred remains of the once menacing werewolf. The acrid scent of burnt fur and flesh hung in the air as they carefully examined the scene. Amidst the smoldering ashes, they found a few remaining pieces of tattered clothing and a half-burnt journal. The journal's pages were singed, but still legible in places. Pip gingerly picked it up and began to read aloud. It was never my intention to become this monster, Pip read from the journal. I sought a cure for a terrible curse, but it only brought me more pain. Tumble exchanged a worried glance with Willow. It seems the stranger was not evil by choice, but was cursed and tormented. Pip nodded in agreement. We did what we had to do to protect ourselves, but perhaps there's more to this story. If you decide to leave the scene and return to the village with your recovered cookies, turn to page 15. If you choose to search for any clues that might help lift the stranger's curse, turn to page 16. So, do we just go back to the village with the crumbs, or do we try to lift the stranger's curse? It seems a little weird that we're trying to go, like, that we have one option of just, like, let's just leave and don't tell anybody about this, that we actually, like, that we killed somebody, or we could try to do good now. Do we really need to deal with a dead man's curse? I mean, we don't need to. But that guy, take the cookie crumbs. Dude attacked us as a self-defense. I mean, that's true. That's not a bad point. That's a great point, actually. You don't appear that you want to lift his curse, so we're just going to leave his ass. Page 15, returning with cookies. Pip, Tumble, and Willow decided to leave the scene and return to the village with their recovered cookies in hand. The forest felt quieter and less foreboding now that the threat of the cursed werewolf had been eliminated. Back in the village, they were greeted with both relief and applause from their fellow gnomes. The stolen cookies were a treasured part of the upcoming Great Winter Feast, and their return was cause for celebration. But wait, they're only coming back with crumbs. As the gnomes shared their story of the journal's contents, the village council decided to hold a special feast to honor the memory of the cursed stranger who had once been a member of their community. It was a way to acknowledge the complexity of the situation and the importance of compassion. Okay, but what if the stranger's curse was passed on to the being that destroyed him? Page 15, The Curse's Legacy. Pip, Tumble, and Willow decided to leave the scene and return to the village with their recovered cookies in hand. The forest felt quieter and less foreboding now that the threat of the cursed werewolf had been eliminated. As the gnomes shared their story and the journal's contents, a sense of unease settled over the village. The village council called an emergency meeting, and the eldest gnome, Elder Bramblewood, stepped forward to address the gathered crowd. Gnomes of the village, Elder Bramblewood began, his voice trembling with concern. It appears that the curse which plagued the stranger has not been fully vanquished. We have reason to believe that the dark magic responsible for his transformation has been passed on to the being that destroyed him. If you decide to embark on a quest to find a way to break the curse before it brings more danger to the village, turn to page 17. If you choose to ignore the curse's potential danger and proceed with the Great Winter Feast, turn to page 18. No happy endings here. Page 18, I embrace this consequence. Page 18, the unforeseen consequences. Despite the warnings and concerns of Elder Bramblewood, the gnomes of the village decided to proceed with the Great Winter Feast. The return of their stolen cookies had brought a sense of joy and relief, and they were determined to celebrate as planned. I feel like we just, like, shoved off Elder Bramblewood. We're like, nah, dude. We don't need your conspiracy theories here. As the night wore on, a sense of unease crept into the festivities. The wind outside the village howled, and the moon hung low and ominous in the night sky. It was then that a sudden commotion erupted at the edge of the village. The ground shook, and a monstrous figure burst forth from the forest. It was a creature born of the curse, a grotesque fusion of man and beast, with fiery eyes and a snarling maw. The cursed being rampaged through the village, causing chaos and destruction. The gnomes screamed in terror as they tried to flee the creature's path, but it seemed unstoppable. Pip, Tumble, and Willow and a few brave gnomes tried to confront the cursed being, but their efforts were in vain. The curse's dark magic had made the creature nearly invulnerable. Alright, what does he look like? Oh, jeez. That's terrifying. This is your all's fault. Your all's indifference. Your all's indifference has spawned this creature. Look at all the gnomes. They're just scattering. They're like, we gotta get out of here. Page 19, the desperate final stand. Whoa. With determination in their hearts, Pip, Tumble, and Willow and a few brave gnomes rallied the others and made a desperate final stand against the cursed creature that had invaded their village. They armed themselves with whatever they could find, from kitchen utensils to gardening tools, and formed a defensive line. Kitchen utensils? They're gonna fight them with a bunch of forks and spoons? The battle raged on, with gnomes falling one by one as they tried to protect their homes and loved ones. Pip, Tumble, and Willow fought side by side, their determination unwavering. Just when it seemed all hope was lost, a brilliant light pierced through the darkness. Elder Bramblewood, with his ancient knowledge of magic, had arrived with a plan. He chanted an incantation that summoned the essence of the forest itself. Oh, snap! Bramblewood's coming to the rescue! A surge of natural energy enveloped the cursed creature, weakening its dark magic and breaking the curse that had bound it. The creature's monstrous form began to unravel, and it let out a howl of agony. Oh! As the curse dissipated, a human figure emerged from the wreckage, disoriented and bewildered. It was the stranger who had once been cursed, now free from the dark magic's grip. With the curse lifted, the creature returned to its human form, and the villagers rushed to help and tend to their wounds. The once cursed stranger was forgiven, and the gnomes celebrated their victory over the dark magic that had threatened their village. With the curse broken and danger averted, the village came together to rebuild what had been lost. The Great Winter Feast, now truly a celebration of forgiveness and resilience, continued late into the night. The gnomes of the village learned a valuable lesson about the consequences of their actions and the power of unity and compassion. They also discovered that even in the face of darkness, there could be hope and redemption. As the festivities concluded, Pip, Tumble, and Willow and the once cursed stranger stood together, a symbol of the village's newfound unity. The future held the promise of a stronger and more tightly knit community, ready to face any challenge that came their way. The end. Let's go! That was good. That was really good. I hope you all have learned a valuable lesson about the consequences of your actions. Well, we did it. We did it. New story next time. Thanks for watching.